Good afternoon. This is our new segment that we're trying where I read the news, kind of. It's like I read it, but if I get bored, I'm going to stop, or I'm going to just make funny comments the whole time. What I'm doing is I'm just going through Google and seeing what Google wants me to be afraid of. First thing, 2 banks collapsed within 48 hours in the United States. Which one's next? That's pretty scary, but at the same time, like, whatever, like, we've been beaten over the head with this for what, like the last 2 years? It's a black week for Americans in their financial system. In just 48 hours, the bank sector had been shaken by the collapse of 2 major banks. It's not telling you what the banks are. Not like I would know anyway. Apparently, Silicon Valley banks. Startups failed on March 10th. You're making it sound like these are big banks that have been established. These are bank startups that just collapse. So yeah, still kind of crappy. It's still an indicator of, bad economy and stuff like that. But it's not like it's like JP or something like Morgan Chase or whatever the heck that is. It's not like that collapse. Point is, maybe invest in some, gold, silver, maybe some cryptocurrency, Don't rely on the American petrodollar. This one I save because it's funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. Chemical accidents happen more than once every 2 days in the United States. So the way of getting people to not freak out about these big, massive chemical spills in the United States is them saying, oh, don't worry, it happens all the time. I don't think they're going to get the desired result with that. Like, yeah, sure, there is some dummies that are like, oh, yeah, this isn't a big deal. This is just a distraction or what. I'm like, dude, it happens all the time. That's bad. But I also think they're full of crap because if chemical spills that were, causing rashes to break out on children, people coughing up blood, people have to evacuate an entire city, I'm pretty sure we would know about that if that happened all the time. I think that what they're saying is train derailments happen all the time because of their crappy infrastructure. But this whole chemical thing, that's a bigger deal. I heard that it was more evil than stupidity. But who knows?
It's the Russians.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, of course. I have heard people, like, with all the factory fires that have been having, the food processing plants and stuff like that, there is people like, hey, this is fifth generational warfare. The Chinese and the Russians are sabotaging. And then whenever something happens in Russia or China, they say the same thing. It did come out that the Gazprom thing, the whole pipeline thing that, I called on day one, was the United States. He fled the war from Ukraine to Canada and now can't find a job. I want to talk about this because I keep hearing, 1 minute I'm hearing nobody can find a job. The next minute I hear nobody can find people to hire. I find that very weird. And maybe it's just where I am in Canada, but like right now, I could probably, like, if I just took 20 minutes, I could probably apply and get a call for probably like 10 jobs right now. And I don't know if it's because of where I am or like my skill level or what, but something's not adding up. Like when I drive from here to like the town area, I pass probably 10 to 20 businesses now hiring. Great, massive amount of bonuses. And when I talk to them, like, oh, we can't find anybody to hire. Then I talk to people at the stores and stuff like that, and like, oh, I can't find a job. I don't think I'm the smartest guy in the world or anything, but like this seems like a problem that is very easily fixed. Although, speaking to this guy, I would rather, have a hard time finding a job in a country like Canada than, being in the middle of a war zone. So I don't think he's got too much to complain about. Stop eating the same meals each week. It may be affecting your health. So here's more BS health stuff. I love scrolling through and seeing all this stuff. Like, oh, eggs are bad for your health, or things that are clearly good for you are bad for you, but, Lucky Charms. You should be eating that every day. Meal prepping may be popular and easy, but one of the biggest drawbacks of laying out 5 containers of the same lunch and dinner for each week is you may not be getting all the nutrients you need. Eating the same food each day, especially not well. Okay, but this is common sense shit. I want to keep this somewhat PG, but like seriously, meal prepping is super easy. Here it's showing carrots, potatoes, rice, chicken, broccoli, and apples. Yeah, you could eat that every day and be fine. In fact, you'd probably be very, very healthy. Like every day for a year. What the heck are they talking about? Aliens. Pentagon UFO chief. So they have a position in their intelligence or their whatever, the government, that's a UFO chief. That's awesome. I want to be... Okay, anyway. Alien mothership could be in our solar system. Okay, sorry. Pentagon UFO chief says alien mothership in our solar system possible. Yeah, no shit. Oh, okay. This is my favorite though. Like this seems to be the biggest thing. Like so, when there's too much talk about potential of World War III, too much talk about the economy collapsing, not just in the United States but worldwide, stuff like that. They immediately it's like, oh, aliens! Look at the aliens. Don't worry about all that stuff. Look at the aliens. We have to have like a whole episode on aliens because it's a very interesting topic, and you and I have very different opinions on it. We both think aliens are a possibility, but whenever you see something in the news about aliens, like yeah, they're fun and interesting, but start looking for something that's big that might be happening. Adding hot water make it okay to pour grease down the drain. Talking to Manny, my plumber friend, no, no, it does not. And this is an ongoing debate with my family because my mom says she's done it for years, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, but your sink also gets clogged once a month. We love our oils in 2022. Yeah, we shouldn't, especially like seed oil. Oh, no way. This article literally says some of our favorite oils, including soybean oil, rapeseed oil, palm and olive oil, some of the worst things you can put in your body. This article's praising them. It's like, oh yeah, it's great. It's amazing that it's in our diet. It just might be clogging your sinks. What is it doing to your heart? It's clogging your sink. And like rapeseed oil, like yeah, it's as terrifying as its name suggests. This article doesn't go into that. It just says, hey, stop pouring it down your drain. I'm like, stop pouring it down your throat. Even with hot water, yeah, no. That's a whole other episode too. Friggin' cottonseed oil. Industrial waste basically. It's used for friggin' keeping machines lubricated. There's so many crazy things going on with our housing market in Canada. Like, so there's more demand than there is supply, but because government is awesome at doing everything they do, not enough is being built. There's not a lot of incentive to build because of government regulations and stuff like that. Then you get into like the cost of materials kind of gotten back down. Like I just bought a bunch of material for a client recently, and it was a decent price, but still like there's the supply of the material, and then you get workers issues. Not a lot of workers. Even though there's a whole bunch of people looking for jobs. I can't complain too much because in the UK it's even worse, but like it's basically $1,000 a bedroom in Ontario. I don't know what it is the rest of Canada, but a 1-bedroom apartment with, like basically a little closet, anywhere from $1,200. The lowest I've seen is $1,000, but that's rare. And then a 3-bedroom apartment's usually around $3,000. Even if it's like, see, the thing is they advertise 3 bedrooms, right? But it's still like 600, 700 square feet. So you get 3 bedrooms and a bathroom and a kitchen in there, and then a little tiny living room. Like 700 square feet, it's not a lot, especially when you got enough. Like if you need 3 bedrooms, that's a decent sized family, and that's $3,000. I know there's like a lot of people watching this is going to be like, yeah, no, it sucks. And then Canada, you got the whole grocery thing. This is why you got to get off grid, man. No, you don't have to, sell all your stuff and move to the woods. But if you're having a hard time with your rent and groceries, you could supplement that with growing some stuff. Like you can do it even if you have a small backyard. I'm going to demonstrate that in the spring. I'm moving to a place with a tiny backyard, but I'm going to build some raised beds, and I'm going to grow some stuff. It will help even just a little bit. Some of the stuff I buy for camping and hunting, I use at my home. That will also help supplement like lowering my electrical bill. Wait, what? Okay, this is interesting. UK to help fund immigration detention center in France. The UK shouldn't be funding anything but their own freaking country. Like they're collapsing right now. This is another thing I don't understand. All these countries are having like so many issues, but they're funneling so much money into other countries. And the way I look at it is like I could give to charity or give like let's say my neighbor's having a hard time, and I could be a good person and like help them out financially, stuff like that. But am I really being a good person if I'm taking away stuff from my children, like food, shelter, stuff like that, to give to my neighbor? Am I really being a good person, or am I being a crappy person? Because my first concern should be my family, my children, and then once they're squared away, they're taken care of, then I can worry about my neighbor, worry about my community. Like, shouldn't the people we vote in and give our tax dollars to, shouldn't that be their first concern? Like the people who are voting for them, the people who are giving up their taxes at threat of freaking death. And if you think I'm being crazy, don't pay your taxes. Find out what happens when they go to arrest you. Resist arrest. See what happens. It's a threat of death. So anyway, that's another rabbit hole I can go on. Taxation is theft, especially when they're giving it away to other countries, funding their BS instead of helping the people that are giving them the money, or like the people that here that need that money. So let's talk about this. UK to fund immigration detention center of France. This just sounds very interesting. Like France had, like, speaking of immigration problems, France has been having some crazy stuff going on since like 2015. Britain will help fund a detention center in North France as part of a 500 million package to stop. The UK is giving 500 million pounds to France when they can't even shelter and feed their own country. To stop refugees trying to cross the channel. Well, aren't they just being racist? I thought we were supposed to just let people flood into countries. Amid continued criticisms to lock up and deport those arriving in small boats. Oh, okay. So their solution to people flooding into the country is arrest them, detain them in their country. Because that'll help with all the financial issues, because they don't have to, feed them, pay for like the power and stuff at these detention centers, the maintenance of the detention centers. This is going to fix it. I'm being way too cynical. This is supposed to be like me reading that. Well, I'm not taking it seriously. That's the thing. The Barely News is like, yeah, I'm reading all this crazy. Like, we live in clown world. Like, everything's a big circus. We're run by fools. So I'm not taking this seriously. It's serious stuff, and it's kind of depressing, but,
Focus on what we can do.
Yeah. So, yeah, okay. They got to help pay for 500 additional officers. Drones. Drones are very important. We need a lot of drones. They need more intercepting boats. The number of people estimated to reach France this year is 60,000. I think that's lowballing it, but maybe they've been flooding in so much in the last 5 years it's starting to slow down. Who knows? Man, I feel bad for the people in the UK. And it's not like I think Canada's like, we're doing all the same stuff. It's just Canadians are in this super terrifying position where we get to see the results of everything we're doing right now from Europe and the United States. It's like we look at all these policies, all the things that are going terribly wrong in Europe and terribly wrong in the US.
We're not learning.
No. But it's scary for Canadians who pay attention. Because we're like, oh crap, this is where this leads. We're run by clowns. Like, it's so funny, like they go on and on about how important education is, but I'm like, and they go on, they brag about their education. I'm like, okay, but you can't figure out that if you bring in more people than you have houses, that's going to cause a problem. If you have more people taking out than people putting in, we're going to run out. Like, my 5-year-old can figure that out. Why can't they figure that out? Like, I just keep reading all these numbers, like all this money that the UK is sending to France and what it's going to go to, and I just keep seeing that article of apartments in England, like $1,000 for like 300 square feet, basically a closet. It looked like a prison cell. I've seen prison cells in Canada and not the Netherlands, in Scandinavian countries. I've seen prison cells bigger than these apartments, and they have to pay £1,000. I don't know what that translates to in Canadian, but this is a big number. Like, that's just too. Like, I know it's too much. I love my UK people. My like, I'm ethnically, like, my ancestors came from France, so it just hurts to see. And then knowing that my government's doing very similar things. Canada to see China as a threat or an enemy, most Canadians say in a survey. That's an interesting one. Because I've been seeing a lot of talk lately about the Liberal Party, and like a lot of people that are in power from the party, they all took stuff from the CCP. Like, there's a massive amount of CCP influence in our government. I don't know, like, I gotta look into this more. But my stance on everything is like, I love every people of every country. I hate their government. It's like, I love everybody in my country, hate my government. Governments are the bad guys here. But yeah, I saw something about, like, apparently, I don't know if this is true, but I read an article about them wanting to build a statue of Mao in Canada. You know how I know it's true? If I Google it, and then a bunch of stuff is saying, like, either why it's good or no, you're crazy, shut up. That's how, whenever I get articles like, no, that's a conspiracy theory, you're nuts, I'm like, okay, so it's true. Have you heard of 15-minute cities? I don't know anything about it yet, but I Googled it, and all the articles were like, shut up, you crazy conspiracy theorists, these things are amazing. So I'm like, clearly these things are bad. If all the big names, like, I gotta look into it more, but so why? Oh, so it's in talks. Chinese donors who funded Trudeau Foundation. That's what it was. A massive donation went to Trudeau's father's foundation, and apparently this donor who got all of his money from the CCP wants to put a statue of Mao in Montreal. Now, people who don't know, I think like Mao, or what's his name, like Napoleon and Genghis Khan and stuff like that. Like these guys were Hitler of their time. Okay, and people think they're great. I'm like, what scares me is how much time has to pass before people are like, oh yeah, Hitler was great. Because look at what Genghis Khan did. Look what Napoleon did, or Napoleon, or whatever. Mao, like they're all equally bad. They all did, but it's either time or propaganda. Where some of them get labeled as not that bad, or heroes even. Like a lot of people celebrate Genghis Khan. I'm like, what? And they'll look at all the good things he did and ignore all the bad things. I'm like, I'm not even gonna say what I was gonna say, but let's just say like there's parallels with Hitler. But some people heard me say Napoleon is on the same level as Hitler and they got mad. Maybe some people with Genghis Khan too. But I'm like, dude.
For sure.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, that was barely news.